Tartans and Lions will close out the action this evening. And taking a look at the starting lineups first for the visiting Mount St. Joseph Lions. Starting at setter, a 5'9 freshman from Bloomington, Indiana, and Bloomington North High School, number 3, Ava Moore. At outside and right side hitter, a 6-foot sophomore from Marymount, Ohio, and Marymount High School, number 4, Sydney Doty. At outside hitter, a 5'6 senior from Amelia, Ohio, and West Claremont High School, number 5, Hannah Graves. At outside hitter, a 5'9 junior from Fairfield, Ohio, and Fairfield High School, number 9, Emma Sicking. At right side hitter, a 5'11 sophomore from Marysville, Ohio, and Fairbanks High School, number 11, Claudia Mueller. At right side hitter, a 5'8 sophomore from Medina, Ohio, number 26, Aubrey Miranda. And the libero, the defensive specialist, is a 5'6 sophomore from Blue Ash, Ohio, and Sycamore High School, number 22, Lindsay Stevenson. The Lions are led by head coach John Spinney in his 7th season running the program. He is assisted by Elise Ballman. The volunteer assistant is Kristen Schoenfeld, and the athletic trainer is Matt Scherer. Starting it off for the Carnegie Mellon University Tartans. At middle blocker, a 6-foot freshman from Palo Alto, California, and Palo Alto High School, number 1, Sophie Pan. At outside hitter, a 6'2 senior from Houston, Texas, and Clear Creek High School, number 2, Bella Woodard. At outside hitter, a 6-foot senior from Davie, Florida, and NSU University, number 4, Katherine Jackson. At setter, a 5'7 junior from Los Angeles, California, and Harvard Westlake High School, number 8, Naya Tamala. At middle blocker, a 6-foot senior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Hampton High School, number 10, Kai Herkenrother. At outside hitter, a 5'9 junior from Corta Madera, California, and Redwood High School, number 18, Kate Zhao. And the defensive specialist for the Tartans, a 5'6 sophomore from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Manilde St. Margaret's High School, number 11, Izzy Seifert, and a 5'5 junior from Tiburon, California, and Deerfield Academy, number 9, Zoe Gavros. The Tartans are coached by Ann Bach, a Juniata graduate in 1998, and her 7th year running the program. She is 103-53. Her assistant coach, Erin Street, a 2006 graduate of Wheeling Jesuit University, in her first season with the Tartans. The Lions will be in their road blues with gold numerals trimmed in white on the fronts and backs of the jersey. The MSJ Athletics logo in gold trimmed in white on the back nameplate, and gold accents down the sides of the jerseys. And the libero will be in white with blue accents down the sides of the jersey, blue numbers, and a blue Mount St. Joseph logo, both trimmed in gold. The Carnegie Mellon Tartans will be in white with black and red accents around the arms and collars of the jersey. Black numerals on the front and back. The Tartans logo on the left sleeve of the, or left shoulder of the jersey rather, and CMU underneath the numbers. The libero in the all-black uniform with white numerals trimmed in a red, Carnegie Mellon under the numbers. Serving for the Tartans is Tamala. It's returned, played up by Gavros, and it'll be sent over. Hustling after it is Stevenson. A big right-handed swing from the left side of the floor, tracked down by the Tartans. It'll be sent over by Gavros on a free ball. Got another outside hit attempt by Mount St. Joseph. That was Graves who sent it over, and the Tartans can't return it. It's a Mount St. Joseph Lions point. Stevenson on serve for the Lions, and it's an ace as the Tartans have a little bit of a miscommunication and can't return it, and that is now the 7th service ace of the season for Stevenson. Good for second on the team, trailing only Hannah Graves, who has 8. Stevenson's next attempt, played up, and it'll be set up for an outside attack, and putting it down for the point is Kate Jown for the Tartans. And Carnegie Mellon now with a 2-1 lead over Mount St. Joseph. Jown's first serve, played by Stevenson. Up to the center, back row attack from Sicking, and it's down for the Mount St. Joseph point. Audrey Griffin and Ginger Johnson sent into the match for the Mount St. Joseph Lions. As Moore and Miranda will take seats. And this one's punched over for Mount St. Joseph, played over to Woodard through a block attempt, and it is down for the Carnegie Mellon point. Griffin was on serve for Mount St. Joseph on that last point. She's a native of Covington, Kentucky, and a graduate of Scott High School. Now Sophie Pan, the Palo Alto, California native, on serve for Carnegie Mellon. Jump serve played up to Johnson, and it's tracked down by Carnegie Mellon. It'll play played over on a free ball. Played up to Johnson once more. Right side attack. Down through a block. It's Sydney Doty putting it down for the point. Hannah Graves on serve for Mount St. Joseph. She floats it over on a dive. It's kept alive by Jown. Left side attack from Jackson. Handled by Mount St. Joseph. Now back row attack played up. And another back row attack, this time from Carnegie Mellon. Johnson with the set for Mount St. Joe's. It's hit over by Sicking. It's returned by the Tartans, and they get another block on another outside hit attempt. This time the block is down for the Carnegie Mellon point. Melissa Jin checks in to the match. She's a 5'10" freshman setter from Fremont, California, and Mission San Jose High School. Her first serve is up and over, and it's going to be an ace as the College of Mount St. Joe's can't return it. And fortunately, Sicking and Johnson avoid a massive collision at the net, as that could have been catastrophic, but fortunately they were both able to protect themselves on the slide and stay out of harm's way. Jin's next hit is up and over. It's played up to Johnson. Right side attack this time from Doty. Backed up by Carnegie Mellon. Middle hit coming from Herkenrother. And Mount St. Joe's has their return shot blocked. Now Sicking on the left side, hits it over a block on a dive. It's kept alive by Gavros. Left side attack, hit over by Jackson. Johnson with the set, Sicking with the hit for Mount St. Joe's. Off the deflection, it's a Lions point. Sydney Doty on serve now for Mount St. Joe's. Played by Jackson, a hit over on the second hit. Johnson with a set, Sicking with a hit, back row left corner, dug out on a dive by Jown. That's sent over on the third hit. Johnson with a set, right side attack now from Mueller, blocked at the net, but the Lions keep it alive. Sicking off the top of the net, it's down for a Lions point. Doty stays on serve. And it's a service error for her. Just her third on the year. And she will head out to a barrow. Stevenson will check back in for the Lions. As Jackson will drop back to serve, and her serve is a little too tight to that sideline, and it lands on the wrong side if you're a Carnegie Mellon fan as it's out of bounds. So the point and serve go over to Mount St. Joe's. Ava Moore returns, as does Aubrey Miranda. Miranda will be up front. Moore will drop back and serve. It's played up and sent over and out by Herkenrother. So it's a point for the Lions, and the Tartans are asking for a review by the line judge if it was deflected or not, and the line judge does say it is deflected. But the decision was made that the point is awarded to the Lions. So Moore will stay on serve. She'll float it over with the right hand. It's played up to the setter, Tamala. Hit over by Zhao, and it is down off the block. The Tartans get the point, and Sophie Pan returns for Carnegie Mellon. Dropping back to serve, Zoe Gavros. She hits it over with the right hand. It's played up to the setter, middle hit. Dug out by Jin. Now it's sent over to Zhao. Now tapped back over by Pan. Sicking with a hit for the Lions. Good set middle hit from the Tartans as Pan puts it down for the kill. Gavros will stay on serve for Carnegie Mellon, and it's a service error as she hits it into the net. Point and serve over to the College of Mount St. Joe's. Emma Sicking, the Fairfield, Ohio native, will be on serve now. Sicking with 5 service aces on the year. Good for third on the team. Outside attack for Zhao, handled by the Lions. Set up for a right side attack, and Miranda puts a little bit too much behind it and sends it out of bounds. Point and serve now over to the Tartans. Woodard comes back for Carnegie Mellon. She'll spell Melissa Jin. And on serve right now is Nea Tumala. Tumala sends it over. It's played by Sicking in the back row. Sent over on the third hit from Mueller. Outside attack from Zhao is blocked out of bounds by the Lions. Point to the Tartans. Tamala sends it over once more on a serve. The Lions play it over on a free. Good recovery from Zhao. Send it over to Woodard now, and Woodard puts it down for the kill with the left-handed swing from the right side. So Tamala will stay on serve with the Tartans, rather with the Tartans as she sends it over. It's punched back to the back row, but handled by Jackson. Now left side attack from Zhao. Tracked down by Sicking, and she sends it a little bit too far. It's out of bounds. Point to the Tartans. 11-9 is our score. The Tartans lead the Lions. Wallace sends it over once more. Played up by Graves. Graves will punch it over on the third after getting a set from a teammate. Tamala sets it up for Pan, and though she mistimed her jump, she hit it just in the right spot for the point. And with the Tartans leading by a 12-9 count, the Lions will take their first timeout in this first set. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. This neutral court matchup between Mount St. Joe's and Carnegie Mellon resumes after a timeout. A hit at the net from the Lions. Aubrey Miranda sends it into the net, and it is another point for the Tartans. Good aggressive play at the net right there from Miranda. Just didn't quite reach her peak when she hit the ball and sent it into the net. It's 13-9 in favor of the Tartans. Here in the first set, Tamala stays on serve, floats it over. It's played over to Miranda, and she hits it out of bounds for another Tartans point. Long service stretch right here from Tamala. She hits it to the back row, and that's going to be an ace as it's misplayed by Emma Sicking. Tamala came in second on the team in service aces with 11. She's now within 2 of Kate Jown, who leads the way. Tamala's next serve, again mishandled by Sicking, but kept alive and sent over by the Lions. Tamala will get the first hit. It's sent over to Woodard into a block, and it is out of bounds off of the Lions. Point to the Tartans. Tamala's next serve. Played up by Sicking. It'll be played to the left side to Graves. On a dive, Jown keeps it alive. It's sent over on a free by Tamala. Sicking plays it up, and it's sent over by Mueller. Good set over to Jown, and she buries it for the kill. And Carnegie Mellon is on some kind of roll to start this match. They lead at 17-9 here in the first set, and the Lions burn their second and final time out of the set. We're going to take it with them. Welcome back into Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. It's second match action in the 2025 Marcia French Invitational here at Baldwin Wallace between Carnegie Mellon and Mount St. Joe's. Carnegie Mellon with a 17-9 lead over Mount St. Joseph as the Lions will play over the serve. Tamala with the set. Left-handed attack from Woodard is handled. And then the follow-up hit is out of bounds from Graves. So the Tartans get another point and take a step closer to a first set victory. As it's first to 25, win by 2, and they are up by 9 and sitting on 18 right here with Tamala again, still on serve. Graves on the reception, gets it back on the outside, has it blocked down for the Tartans point. Kate Jown, the Corte Madera, California native, with a beautiful block, good positioning, and put it down right in an open gap on the court. Number 21, Ginger Johnson, has checked back in for the College of Mount St. Joe's. As Tamala on serve. Graves on the reception, set up to Mueller for a middle hit. Tamala with a set, big swing from Sophie Pan, dug out by Sicking. Now Miranda will send it over, and Miranda will send it wide of the sideline for Mount St. Joe's. It's another point for the Tartans. Tamala's next serve, played back row by Stevenson. Up to Johnson, tight to the net. Graves hits it over, and it's down for a Mount St. Joseph point off the deflection, says the stand official. So that breaks a long string of points for the Tartans as they were tied at 9 and then took a 20-9 lead before giving serve back up. And now Pan with another hit at the middle of the net, and this one's sent over and sent out by Miranda. She hit it off her back foot and just elevated it too much. Instead of a down action, she elevated it and put it across the line. Kate Jown will serve once more. Team leader in service aces with 14 coming into today, and she hits that one out of bounds for a service error. That is her 10th on the year. Audrey Griffin back in for the College of Mount St. Joseph, and Audrey Griffin will go on serve. It's played by Gavros, up to Tumala, over to Woodard. It's blocked down by Graves for the Mount St. Joseph point. Next serve by Griffin, played up to Tamala. Outside hit from Jackson is blocked out of bounds by the Lions point to Carnegie Mellon. Pan's first serve, played up to Johnson, and then a miscommunication on the third hit as everybody kind of went away from the ball instead of attacking it, and that results in another Carnegie Mellon point. And Sophie Pan will stay on serve. Jumping right-handed serve, played by Stevenson, up to Johnson, outside attack for Graves, roll shots it over a block attempt, backed up by Jackson to Tamala, back to Jackson, through a block, and it is a point for the Tartans as a two-hit violation is called against the College of Mount St. Joseph. So the Tartans will be on set point with Sophie Pan serving it up. And that's going to be an ace as it caroms funny off of Audrey Griffin's left arm and drops to the court. The Carnegie Mellon Tartans take the first set 25-12. We're going to step aside for a break as the two teams switch ends. And when we come back, we'll have the start of the second set. And after one set, it's the Tartans leading the Lions by a 1-0 count. Carnegie Mellon took that first set 25-12. Thanks in large part to the play at the net of Sophie Pan and Bella Woodard, who led the way with 3 kills each, both hitting at a 400 or better percentage. Pan, 3 kills and 7 total attacks, 429 hit percentage. Woodard, 3 kills in 5 total attacks with 1 error, a 400 hit percentage. Catherine Jackson, Kai Herkenrother, and Kate Zhao each had 2 kills. And as a team, 12 kills in 31 total attacks for a 290 hit percentage with just 3 attack errors for Carnegie Mellon in that first set. 7 of the set assists went to Naya Tumala. Tumala had 1 of 3 service aces on the day, or rather in the first set for Carnegie Mellon. Sophie Pan and Melissa Jin had the other. The leader in digs, Zoe Gavros with 5, and then 4 each for Kate Zhao and Naya Tumala. And 4 block attempts for, or rather 4 block assists, I should say, for the Tartans for 2 team total blocks. The blocks went to Pan, Woodard, Herkenrother, and Zhao. Leading the way for Mount St. Joseph with 2 kills each. It was Hannah Graves and Emma Sicking, then 1 kill for Sydney Doty. 5 kills, 8 attack errors, 35 total attacks, and a negative 0.86 hit percentage for Mount St. Joseph. 3 set assists to Ginger Johnson, 2 for Ava Moore. 1 service ace belonged to Lindsay Stevenson. And the leader in digs in that first set, Audrey Griffin with 5. A block assist each to Sydney Doty and Hannah Graves. The Lions will start out on serve here in the second set. It's Hannah Graves sending it over. It's played up to Tamala and then over by Pan. And it's tipped over by Mueller for the Lions. Tamala with a set, outside attack for Kate Zhao, and she buries the kill for the Tartans. And Tamala will be on serve for the Tartans. Off the top of the net, it's played by Sicking, and it's blocked at the net by the Tartans. Tipped over, kept alive on a dive momentarily by Jackson, but she couldn't elevate it enough for the Tartans to get a third hit, and we're even at 1 early in the second set. That will put Lindsay Stevenson on serve for the Lions. Lit it over with the right hand. It's played by Jackson, and a miscomm up front results in a point for the Lions as Woodard was going to her left, and she could not cut back right to receive the pass from Jackson. So Stevenson stays on serve with the Lions up 2-1. Jackson up to Tamala. Big swing at the net by Sophie Pan, and she buries the kill for the Tartans. Kay Jown will be on serve for Carnegie Mellon. It's received by Stevenson. Set up for Miranda on the outside. Dug out by Woodard. Sent up to Tamala. Big swing from Jackson. Dug out by Stevenson. Another set, this time up for Sicking, and it's played up by the Tartans. A block on a Jackson shot. Kept alive by the Tartans. Now Jackson punches it over on a dive. It's kept alive by Sicking. Big swing at the net, blocked out of bounds by the Tartans. Doty's going to get the kill. Audrey Griffin on serve for the Lions. Now they lead it 3-2 here in the second set. The Lions down 1-0. Griffin serve played by Gavros. Set up on the outside for Woodard. She sends it over, and it's played over on a third hit. Tumala tries to elevate the second hit after the pass from Jackson, and the pass from Jackson took her a little too close to the net. She hit the ball into the net for a Lions point. Floating serve, crashes into the net, falls on the Lions side of the court for a Tartans point, and Sophie Pan will now go on serve. Stevenson on the reception, played up to Johnson. It's punched over on a third hit. Tamala with a set for Herkenrother, and she puts it down for the kill. So we're even at 4 now in this second set. And Pan will stay on serve. She sails that one just a little bit too long. Point and serve over to the Lions. Sicking will check out, checking in and going on serve for the first time today. Number 23, Katie Rolfe, a 5'7" junior right side and outside hitter from Fort Mitchell, Kentucky and Beechwood High School. Jumping right-handed serve, played back row, up to Tamala. Woodard on the outside with a beautiful swing, but it's dug out by Griffin. Set up for Graves. She hits it through a block. Tamala with a set. It's punched over by Herkenrother, and it's returned right on the line by the Lions. They lead it 6-4. Rolfe takes a deep breath, stays on serve. And it's received by the Tartans. It'll be sent over on a free by Gavros. On a dive, Griffin to Jackson, to Graves off the top of a block. It's set up by Tumala for Jackson. Again, dug out by Griffin. Set by Jackson over to Graves. Hit by Tumala to Gavros. Now to Jackson on the outside. Jackson elevated it to get it over the block, but she sent it in to the Mount St. Joseph bench, and it's another Lions point. They lead it 7-4 here in the second set. Next serve from Rolfe, played by Jackson to Tamala. Big swing at the net from Herkenrother, kept alive by the Lions. Sent over on a free by Graves. Tamala with a set. Woodard with a big left-handed swing, and that's going to get down for the kill off the deflection. Melissa Jin will come in to replace Bella Woodard. And Melissa Jin will go on serve. Shin plays it over. Griffin on the reception. Quick tip at the net from Johnson. Played up by the Tartans, and it's buried for the kill by Catherine Jackson. Shin's next serve. It goes by the boards as the Tartans are called for an infraction at the net, and that will result in a point and serve going over to Mount St. Joseph. It will be Sydney Doty on serve for the Lions. It's played by Zhao. Up to Tamala, back row attack from Zhao with a roll shot, gets it over a block attempt. Johnson with a set at the net, right side attack off the top of the net. Played up to Tamala, now to Jackson on the outside, and on a hustle play, it's kept alive momentarily, but the third hit can't get it over for the Lions. Point and serve over to the Tartans. Now Stevenson will check in for Mount St. Joseph, and it will be Catherine Jackson on serve for Carnegie Mellon. And it's a service error off the tape of the net. Point and serve over to Mount St. Joseph. They now lead at 9-7 here in the early stages of this second set. Ava Moore and Aubrey Miranda come back on as Johnson and Griffin will take seats. And it will be Moore who goes on serve. It's played by Zavros tight to the net. Tamala sets it up for Zhao, and she goes right down the near sideline and buries it for the kill. Gavros on serve. Chance to tie things up here. Floating right-hander is going to get down for an ace as Graves had trouble trying to elevate it, and the Lions couldn't get a second hit on it. Gavros' next hit over, played by Graves, tight to the net. Moore with a set. Mueller buries it for the kill. Emma Sicking comes back on to the court for the Lions. She'll replace Katie Rolfe. Graves on serve, floats it over. Played by Jackson up to Tamala. Outside attack from Zhao. Backed up by Stevenson. Back row attack is hit out of bounds by the Lions. It's a point for the Tartans. Jin will check out. Woodard will check back in for Carnegie Mellon. Nea Tamala will be on serve. She floats it over. Played up to Moore. Right side attack from Miranda, and it's going to get down off a deflection for a Lions kill. Lindsay Stevenson sends it over. It's played low to the ground by Jackson. Set up for Woodard. And it's through a block and down for the Carnegie Mellon kill. Kate Zhao sends it over. Graves, two more. Middle hit. Off the top of the block. Zhao keeps it alive. And it's sent over on a free by Jackson. Graves. Two more. She punches it in the air. It's punched over by Miranda. Sent over to Gavros. Now Woodard from the outside. Hits it into the net. It's a point for the Lions. And early in this second set, they've equaled their point total from the entire first set at 12. A couple substitutions for Mount St. Joseph as number 21, Ginger Johnson, returns and seeing her first action today. Number 17, Ava Maxwell, a 5'4" sophomore setter from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Leo Junior Senior High School. She sends over the serve. It's played up to Tamala. Jackson on the outside. Hits it through a block and out of bounds off of the Lions. Point for the Tartans. Sophie Pan on serve for Carnegie Mellon. It's played low to the ground. Johnson keeps it alive. It's sent over on a free. It's up to Tamala. Right side attack. And it's down for the point. Guy Herkenrother puts it down for the kill. Pan stays on serve, and that's going to be down for an ace. That serve pushed Lindsay Stevenson to the back line, and she played it thinking it was going to hit that line, and it could not elevate it enough for Johnson to get underneath and send it over. Pan sends over the serve. It's played over to Maxwell, then sent over by Sicking. Woodard hits it into a block for Carnegie Mellon, and the Lions get the point. They cut the deficit to 1. It's the Tartans 14, the Lions 13, as Rolf will come back in, and she will replace Emma Sicking. Sicking sends it over with the right hand. Jown on the reception to Tamala. Over to Jackson, into a block. It's down for the Mount St. Joseph point. So Rolf serving once more. Played by Jown, up to Tamala, back row attack from Jown, and she clubs it out of bounds into the Lions bench. The go-ahead point scored by Mount St. Joseph there, and we have a timeout on the floor. It is a timeout from the Carnegie Mellon Tartans, their first timeout of the set, and really the first time they've called timeout throughout the match. 15-14 is our score. We'll be back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. It's 2025 Marcia French Volleyball Invitational action between Carnegie Mellon and Mount St. Joseph. Mount St. Joseph on the serve. It's hit over by the Tartans. Jackson with a second crack at it, sends it over through a block. Now Graves gets it blocked back at her. It's backed up by Maxwell. Graves sends it over for the Lions. It's hit by Tamala to Gavros, now to Woodard, and Woodard puts it down with the soft touch in the middle of a couple of diving Lions to even the score at 15 here in the second set. Melissa Ginn will check in for Bella Woodard. And Ginn will go on serve. It's played up by Stevenson to Johnson. It's hit by Tamala, now to Gavros. Back row attack from Jown. Hit back by the Lions, and it's deflected out of bounds by the Tartans. Point to Mount St. Joseph. Claudia Mueller will come back on for Lindsay Stevenson. And going on serve will be Sydney Doty. It's played by Jackson. Over to Ginn, back row attack from Jown. She'll send it over on a free ball. It's played up to Johnson. Now outside attack from Graves. Hit out of bounds by Catherine Jackson. It's another point for the Lions. 2-point advantage now for Mount St. Joseph. Doty stays on serve and sends it wide of the sideline. It's a point and serve over to Carnegie Mellon. Catherine Jackson drops back to serve. Jumping right-hander, played near the line, up to Johnson, it's hit on a deflection by Jin. Over to Tamala, it'll be sent over on a free by Jackson. Now Graves on the outside attack. Through a block, it's down for the Mount St. Joe's point. Moore and Miranda will return. Johnson and Maxwell will take seats for Mount St. Joseph. The serve from Moore, set up to Tamala, outside attack from Jown, off a deflection. It's a point for Carnegie Mellon, and it has been a while since the Tartans had an in-system point, and they finally got a good look, and they cashed in on it. As Sophie Payne will return. Gavros on serve, sends it into the net. It's a point for the Lions, back to a 2-point edge for Mount St. Joseph. Anna Graves, the Amelia, Ohio native, will drop back to serve. Plays it over with the right hand. Jackson on the reception. Up to Tamala. Right side or left side attack from Jown. Out of bounds. It's a point for the Lions. And they lead it by 3, 20-17. And a timeout on the floor by the Tartans. That's their second and final timeout of this set. We're going to take it with them. We'll be back with more second set action. Welcome back into the Ursprung Gymnasium. On the Lions serve, the Tartans play it over, and then Sicking sends it back for the Lions. It's played over on a free by Pan. Moore with a set at the net. Miranda hits it off the top of the net. Gavros on a dive to Tamala, over to Jown, and Jown puts it off the top of a block into the Mount St. Joseph bench. It's a point for the Tartans, and they get the serve. Cuts into that deficit a little bit. On the floor for the Lions, out of the timeout, Miranda, Moore, Mueller, Sicking, Stevenson, and Graves. It's received by Stevenson, sent over by Mueller, and it's down for the kill on the middle hit. The Tartans answer with Gavros, Tamala, Jackson, Jown, Pan, and Woodard. 3-point lead for the Lions. 21-18, Stevenson on serve. Floats it over, it's played by Jown, tight to the net. Tamala hustles after it, but can't keep it alive as it falls to the court before a third hit can be made. So now it's 22-18 in favor of the Lions. Stevenson's hit, played over by Jown to Tamala, punched over by Jown on a free. Now Sicking with a hit, blocked down by Bella Woodard. It's a point for the Tartans. And it will be Kate Jown who will drop back to serve. Jumping right-hander off the top of the net on a dive. The Lions will keep it alive, but it's hit out of bounds on a deflection by the Lions after a quick tip at the net from the Tartans. It's a Carnegie Mellon point, and it's down to a 2-point lead for the Lions. Jown stays on serve. It's tight to the net, or tight to the floor, I should say, and it's going to result in a service ace for the Tartans. A timeout on the floor by the Mount St. Joseph Lions as they watch their lead dwindle down to 1. 22-21 is our score. The Lions lead the Tartans here in the second set. Appreciate that. Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the Ursprung Gymnasium at Baldwin Wallace University. NCAA Division III volleyball action on tap this evening as the Carnegie Mellon Tartans and Mount St. Joseph Lions do battle in the nightcap of day one of the Marcia French Volleyball Invitational. And on the kill for Carnegie Mellon, it's Catherine Jackson from the left side of the court, which evens the score here in the second set at 22 apiece. Kate Jown stays on serve. Jumping right-hander, played by Stevenson. Up to Moore. Miranda with a left side attack, right side attack, I should say, is blocked down by Catherine Jackson for another Tartans point. Jones jumping right-hander, played in the back by Graves, up to Moore, tipped over, but dug out by Gavros, set up for Jackson on the outside, dug out by Stevenson. 2 more, outside attack from Sicking, and it's down for the Lions kill. Ginger Johnson and Audrey Griffin return for Mount St. Joe's. Moore and Miranda take seats, and Griffin will be on serve for Mount St. Joe's. Jumping right-hander, played by Jackson. Up to Tamala, middle hit from Pan. It's down for the kill. And the Tartans are on set point for the first time in the second set. Sophie Pan will serve it up for Carnegie Mellon. Stevenson on the reception to Johnson. Outside attack from Sicking. Blocked down for the set point by Bella Woodard. And Carnegie Mellon takes a 2-0 lead with a 25-23 victory in the second set. They lead the best-of-5 match 2-0. We're going to step aside for a break. When we come back, we'll start the third set between Mount St. Joseph and Carnegie Mellon University from the 2025 Marcia French Volleyball Invitational at Baldwin Wallace University, and you're watching it on Flow College. Hello, everyone, and welcome back in to the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. It's NCAA Division III women's volleyball action on tap this evening as the nightcap of the doubleheader is between the Mount St. Joseph University Lions and Carnegie Mellon University Tartans. Carnegie Mellon up 2-0 in his best-of-5. Leading the way for Carnegie Mellon, it's a trio of hitters with 6 kills apiece. That's Bella Woodard, Catherine Jackson, and Kate Jown. And 5 kills for Sophie Pan and 4 for Kai Herkenrother. Leading the way with 19 of the 24 set assists. Nea Tumala. And then 2 service aces for Sophie Pan, 1 each for Tumala, Zoe Gavros, Jown, and Melissa Jin. And leading the way in digs tonight with 9, Kate Jown. And 3 block assists each for Bella Woodard and Sophie Pan, 2 for Herkenrother, and 1 each for Catherine Jackson and Kate Jown. Leading the way for Mount St. Joseph with 5 kills, it's Hannah Graves, 3 each for Emma Sicking and Claudia Mueller, 2 for Sydney Doty, and 1 for Ginger Johnson, Lindsay Stevenson, and Aubrey Miranda. Set assists just about even, 7 for Ava Moore, 6 for Ginger Johnson, 3 service aces for the Lions, all to Lindsay Stevenson. The leader in digs with 10, Lindsay Stevenson. And 1 solo block belonging to Emma Sicking. On the serve, it's an ace for the Carnegie Mellon University Tartans as we have a miscommunication in the back from Mount St. Joseph. Tumala will stay on serve. Tumala's next serve. Try and play over by the Lions, but Miranda hit it into a block, and it's down for another Tartans point. Tumala sends it over again. Stevenson plays it tight to the net. Moore with a set. Mueller hits it into a block. It's backed up by Moore. Set up for Sicking into a block. Backed up by Mueller. 2 more over to Sicking on the left side. Blocked down, but backed up by Stevenson. And another hit over the net, this time by Sicking. Now Pan at the net. Sends it a little bit too long, and it's a point for the Lions. Stevenson on serve, hits the flat-footed serve over. Zhao to Tumala, over to Zhao on the back row attack, and that's going to be down for the kill. Miscommunication between Graves and Stevenson. It's a point for the Tartans. Cade Zhao will be on serve. As Griffin returns for the Lions. Zhao's first serve to Griffin, played over to Sicking. Miranda hits it. Zhao will dig it out to Tamala. Outside attack from Jackson on a dive. The Lions keep it alive. Sicking hits it into a block. It's backed up by Stevenson. Moore hits it, and it's sent over on a free by Griffin. Gavros to Tamala. To Pan, and she buries it for the kill. Good right side attack from Sophie Pan. Puts it down for the Tartans point. They're quickly out to a 4-1 lead. Cade Zhao will stay on serve. Jumping right-hander, played by Griffin. 2 more, right side attack, hit out of bounds by Aubrey Miranda. Zhao's next serve, played over by Stevenson, or up to Stevenson, I should say. Sicking off her back foot sends it over. Zhao to Tumala, over to Jackson, dug out by Stevenson. And it's sent over by Doty, and it's down for the kill as Gavros' hit sends it into the net. It's a point for the Lions. Checking in and going on serve, Ava Maxwell. Jumping right-hander skims the top of the net, played by Jackson to Tamala. Right side attack from Woodard. It's down on the line for a Tartans kill. Sophie Pan on serve now for the Tartans. She'll float it over. It's played back row by Maxwell. Set up for Dowdy off the top of the net. Punched over in self-defense by Kate Zhao. And darn it if that thing didn't almost hit the sideline. Oh, I'd love to see a replay of that one because that was tight to the sideline. Point nonetheless goes to the Lions, and checking in and going on serve is Katie Rolfe. Rolfe hits it into the net. It's a service error, point to the Tartans, and they will send Melissa Jin on, and she will go on serve. Melissa Jin's serve, set up and over, and the Lions can't return it as Doty hits it into the net. It is down for a Tartans point. Jin stays on serve, jumping right-hander is not going to be returned as the second hit will not be followed up by a third, so it's a service ace and a timeout on the floor by the Carnegie Mellon Tartans. 9-3 is our score here in the third set. The Tartans lead the Lions. Check that the timeout was taken by Mount St. Joseph. We're going to take it with them as you're watching NCAA Division III volleyball from Baldwin Wallace University on Flow College. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. It's NCAA Division III volleyball action on tap this evening as it's the nightcap of day one in the 2025 Marcia French Volleyball Invitational as the Carnegie Mellon Tartans battle the Mount St. Joseph University Lions. The Tartans with a 9-3 lead here in the third set with Jin on serve still. It's played up to Johnson by the Lions, sent over on a third hit. Jin to Tamala, outside attack from Jackson, played up to Johnson, now to Graves, tips it over a block. Jin to Tamala, Jackson on the left side off the top of a block, played up by the Lions. Graves with an outside hit, blocked at the net, kept alive by Zhao. Jin hits it into a block, and it is a point for the Lions. Check that. It was Herkenrother who hit it into a block, and it is down for a Lions point. Sidney Doty on serve, floats it over. It's played by Jackson tight to the net and over. Graves will hit it off her back foot. Gavros to Tamala, over to Jackson, into a block. It's kept alive on a dive by Gavros, then punched over by Tamala, and then Johnson tried to go for a quick tip for Mount St. Joseph and hit it into the tape of the net. It's down for a Tartans point. Catherine Jackson will serve for the Tartans. She'll punch it over. It's played up to Johnson, over to Graves, off the top of the net. Jackson to Tamala, over to Zhao, and Johnson cannot handle the block attempt. It's down for the point for the Tartans. Catherine Jackson serve. Played up to Johnson, over to Graves, blocked at the net, and it's going to be down off a couple of deflections for the Tartans point. Jackson looking to build on an 8-point lead. It's played by Stevenson. Up to Johnson, over to Graves. Dug out by Gavros, to Tamala, over to Zhao, and she buries it for the kill. 13-4 is our score here in the third set. And the Lions already down to one timeout after burning an early one. Have to make their own momentum. The serve played tight to the net. Johnson will play it over on the second. Zhao tries to return, and off the top of the net, it rolls down and lands on the Lions side of the court. That's when you know it's not your kind of night, when a soft hit like that on a down slope rolls off the tape and falls down on your side of the court. 14-4 is our score. Carnegie Mellon leads it. Welcome back into the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. It's NCAA Division III volleyball action between Carnegie Mellon and Mount St. Joseph. Carnegie Mellon stays on serve. Catherine Jackson sends it over. Hannah Graves on a roll shot gets it over a block. Tamala with a set. Now Zhao off her back foot sends it over. Johnson sets it up for Graves off the top of a block. Jackson to Tamala, over to Zhao left side. She punches it into the back row. It's played up to Johnson. Middle hit from Mueller is blocked, but it's blocked down on Carnegie Mellon's side of the net. It's a point for the Lions. Moore and Miranda will return for Johnson and Maxwell. And Moore will go on serve. Also on the floor for Carnegie Mellon, Katie Rolfe, Lindsay Stevenson, and Claudia Mueller and Hannah Graves. Back row attack for Catherine Jackson. Off a deflection. It's down for the Carnegie Mellon point. On the floor for Carnegie Mellon, Sophie Pan, who just returns to replace Kai Herkenrother. And now Catherine Jackson will be subbed out, and seeing her first action today, number 3, Bryn Sheeran, a 5'6" sophomore defensive specialist from Inglewood, Colorado, and Valor Christian Academy. Zoe Gavros sends it over on the serve. It's played by Rolfe, up to Moore, over to Graves on the left side. Kept alive on a couple of deflections, sent over on a free by Zhao. Stevenson to Moore, right side attack from Miranda, through a block on a dive. It's kept alive by Pan, and Jin tried to keep it alive but couldn't elevate enough for Sheeran to get underneath it. So Sheeran, Jin, Zhao, Gavros, Pan, and Tamala on the floor for the Tartans. Hannah Graves on serve for Mount St. Joseph. They trail it by 9, 15-6 here in the third set. Graves' serve is a short one. That's going to be an ace. It caught Carnegie Mellon off guard just a little bit. Landed right in front of a diving Sheeran. Excuse me. Graves sends it over. Sheeran plays it tight to net. Tamala hits it over, and it's hit out of bounds over the bench by the Lions. So a point and serve over to Carnegie Mellon. Checking in now, number 2, Bella Woodard, the 6'2 senior, native of Houston, Texas. As Tamala will be on serve for Carnegie Mellon. Jumping right-hander. Played by Graves in the back. Moore has to duck low to elevate it. It's sent over. Now Woodard hits a roll shot on a dive. It's sent right back over on the first hit by Mount St. Joseph. Pan at the net. Has it dug out by Graves. And it will not make it over in 3 as 4 hits are charged to the Lions. So the point goes over to Carnegie Mellon. Tamala stays on serve. Jumping right-hander, played by Graves, tight to the net, 2 more. Hit off a back foot into a block by Sicking, but kept alive by the Lions. Back row attack. Dug out by Tamala to Gavros. Over to Woodard on the right side into a block. Gavros with the dig to Tamala. Over to Zhao, off her back foot, sends it over. Stevenson, 2 more to Mueller. Gavros digs it out to Tamala. Quick tip over the net, and it's down for the kill. Tamala stays on serve after picking up the quick kill at the net. And that's going to be an ace, as Sicking's pass on the reception was low and Moore couldn't elevate it on a dive. Tamala's next serve, hit up by Graves, 2 more. Right side attack from Miranda is down for the kill. And Mount St. Joseph needed that one as they cut the deficit to 11, but more importantly, they stopped the run that was for Carnegie Mellon, and they get serve control back in the form of Lindsey Stevenson. Flat-footed serve handled by Sheeran. Up to Tamala, over to Zhao with a roll shot. It's down for the kill. 20-8. Carnegie Mellon leads by 12 here in the third set. Another substitution to report to you. Seeing her first action today, a 5'10" sophomore outside hitter from Atlanta, Georgia, in Northview High School. Number 7, Catherine Marshall. Zhao on serve. Graves plays it to Moore. Middle hit, blocked at the net. It's down for the Carnegie Mellon point. Sophie Pan picks up the block. Kate Zhao will stay on serve. Graves on the reception. Up to Moore. Middle hit from Doty is sent over on a dive by Tamala. Kept alive by Stevenson. Over to Moore. Over to Sicking. She sends it over. Tamala to Gavros. Over to Marshall. Played by Sicking. Up to Moore. Back row attack for Graves with a roll. Gets it over, and it's down for the Lions point on the deflection. Marshall and Woodard both pursuing it and both pulled up. Woodard got a hand on it, but they avoided the collision, which was the most important part of that exchange. Johnson checks back in for the Lions, as does Maxwell, who goes on serve. Maxwell's jumping right-hander, played by Marshall. Up to Tamala. Back row attack from Zhao, and it's down off a deflection for the kill. Sophie Payne on the serve, and it's going to be down for an ace as Graves tried to play it as if she was hitting a set and could not handle it. It is a point for the Tartans. Sophie Payne stays on serve once more. Floats it over. Graves to Johnson. Udodi through a block. It's down for the Lions point. Sicking will check out, and Katie Rolfe will check in for the Lions. Rolfe will go on serve. It's played by Jean up to Tamala, over to Marshall, and she sends it just a little bit too long. It's a point for the Lions. So Rolfe will stay on serve. Rolfe serve, played by a diving Jean over, and then it's finished at the net by Sydney Doty. So Rolfe stays on serve once more. Deficit trimmed to 11. She floats it over. Gavros to Tamala, over to Marshall, and Marshall sends it wide of the sideline. Rolfe dribbles it out 3 times with both hands, pulls back her right hand as if she's drawing an arrow on an archery range, sends it over. It's played over to Woodard, and Woodard puts it down for the Carnegie Mellon kill. It's match point for the Tartans as Woodard will check out, and Melissa Jin will check in, and she will be on serve for match point. The jumping right-handed serve, played by Rolfe, up to Johnson, over to Graves with a roll shot, and it's down for the Lions point, but it's still match point. It'll be match point number 2 coming up for the Tartans as Mueller returns for the Lions to relieve Lindsay Stevenson. And Sydney Doty will be on serve. It's played by Marshall, up to Tamala. And through a block, it's down for match point off the hand of Kai Herkenrother. She puts it down, and she ends tonight's action by sealing a 25-14 win in the third set. Carnegie Mellon wins this in straight sets, 25-12, 25-23, 25-14.